Welcome to another episode of Three Men in a War Games, talking about games with the pals the other day.
This is Kevin, and I'd have a puppers.
Jesus. This is Chris, and I've not watched Letterkenny, so I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Oh, well, see, now you have to start watching, and
all you had to do was a to be fair.
I should have done the to be fair. That's like literally the only thing I know from the show is to be fair.
Yeah, see, if you start watching the show, you can start chirping.
I was or listening to Tucock.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, it's gonna be that kind of night.
All right. Anyway, guys, that's enough shitty intro. Hobby. I think so. I think I have my tolerance is like 30 seconds. I think we're good.
Fair. To be fair.
God damn it. Paul, what you been hobbying on?
I've not been doing a whole lot of hobby lately. Honestly. Nothing. I put some paint on Ghost Rider, but honestly, that's about it.
That's still something.
Yeah, it's still something.
It's something. I have lots I need to do, but yeah, not doing anything.
So say we all. Potter, what have you been up to?
I have actually been doing a little bit more. Let's see, I got my whole Black Order built. I think the last time since we spoke. I got Black Dwarf almost fully painted. I got my Sentinels built because those came out. And I built Epion. My Master Grade Epion in like 2.5 days.
Damn, nice. That's a solid timing for a Master Grade.
It was a solid weekend of building. And then I've got, on the deck, Mando and Baby Yoda, and I've got my IG Assassin droids on the deck for good old Legion.
All right, cool. I haven't been up to too much. I have been painting some Warcry just because the models are cool and there's like a local scene starting. But also I've been contrast plussing or slap chopping or whatever the kids are calling it these days. Some stuff for Kings of War because the new red book for Kings of War came out, which is super cool. Mantic continues to be one of my favorite companies in the hobby. And I'm looking forward to playing a lot of Kings of War. I'm hoping, we'll talk about it, in our New Year's show, but one of my big hobby goals for 2022 is to play 24 games of Kings of War. That is a goal that I would like to do in the year 2023 is play 24 games, so 2 a month of Kings of War.
Are you going to be able to step away from Flesh and Blood long enough to do that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because you can do both.
You can do both. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
And I might be able to recruit more Flesh and Blood players. Anyway. There's a set. I promised myself I wasn't going to talk about it. You fucking guys brought it up. But there's a set coming out. There's a set coming out on the 11th, and I am stoked. So some of my hobby progress the last week was actually organizing my binders and my tearing decks apart because I'm going to be on vacation, and by the time I get back from vacation, I'm going to have to rebuild all my decks anyway. So I've actually been unsleeving and getting my, all my shit ready for when the new set drops to open, organize, and rebuild new decks.
I'm gonna throw this out there, Chops, but that may be the nerdiest thing anybody's ever said on this podcast.
I'm not even going to argue. I mean that.
You said some nerdy shit before, man.
Yeah, but that's pretty valid. What I just talked about doing is pretty nerdy. But like,
I guess that's
once you're in the TCG game, it's kind of normalized though. It's like a thing, you know, like it's one of those decisions where I could do it later after I have like a pile of new cards and then I don't have any motivation to rip my decks apart. But right now it's like striking with when the iron's hot, right? Like I know I'm not going to be playing for the next 20 days or so because I'm going to be on vacation and then back from vacation and cleaning up from that. And then I'm going to want to open up all my cards and build new stuff. So I just want to have all my cards ready and organized so that when I want to build these new decks, I have everything quick at hand.
Well, that makes sense.
I'm not saying it's not a great idea. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great idea and spot on.
Yeah.
It's just nerdy as fuck.
It's very nerdy. All right. So main topic of the show tonight, you guys, is actually a topic that was brought up by a listener a while ago. And I think it's a worthwhile thing, and that is a Hobby Minis check-in. And I think the good reason for this is because, like, a lot of our last episodes have been either Flesh and Blood or Gundam related, and we haven't talked a whole lot about minis. We did have a recent MCP episode, so hooray for that. But I think there's probably, and we are also, you know, on a much more erratic recording schedule because of a lot of personal stuff. Like it seems like one of us is bouncing into like a very frantic sort of personal thing. Mm-hmm. And it's just caused a lot of, you know, hardships with recording. It's not that we don't want to, it's just that time is tough.
Yeah. This year has been tough on all of us. So
yeah, it's been really, each of us have had like 2 or 3 months where it's been exceptionally hard, right? Like new jobs, family stuff, like just like a whole lot of time sinking things. But
and the weird thing about it is like none of it's happening at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like one person gets through their shit
and then the next person has nailed. Shit. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like right when we were about to get, I felt like we were going to get right back on track, and I had a pretty cataclysmic family thing happen. So I haven't really been in the headspace to record for the last month or so. Anyway.
Because I was like, I just got over mine, and like right before you went into yours, I didn't even think about that. Jeez.
Yeah, it's been rough. But we're here. We still love war games. We still love rolling dice and flipping cards. So this is a good place for us to check in, and maybe this will help re-energize us too, right? Because that with the tax of not being able to record also comes some of the tax of, you know, just not being able to game as much in general. So, we'll basically just do like a round robin style thing where we answer a couple questions and we talk about the games we're playing, we want to play, things we're looking forward to that are coming out, etc., etc. And then maybe we'll follow this episode up in a couple weeks with an episode that's like a heat index, which is like, we'll be like rating, because we've done that before, right? We've done like a sort of like A through F rating on how we're feeling about different games, and we can do a heat index on things that are coming up for next year. Mm-hmm. But for tonight, let's keep it with what we are doing right now and just having a little check-in. So what are we playing? Paul, I'm going to toss the ball to you to start. What are the minis games that you would consider yourself to be playing currently?
Man, I mean, I'm playing a crap ton of Marvel Crisis Protocol these days. I'm pretty consistently out there on Wednesdays playing. Not out there tonight because I little under the weather, just enough that maybe it's allergies, maybe it's not. But you know, these days it's better to just stay home. But yeah, I mean, I've been playing a whole lot of that and really enjoying it. I'm at the point now where I've got the basics down and I'm starting to kind of expand what I'm trying.
It's so cool. You don't know how happy it makes me to hear you say that. Like, it's just so cool.
Well, I mean, and it's been great, right? Like I kind of got the feel for the Web Warriors and I was like, well, what happens if I put Ghost Rider in there? And let me tell you, shit dies.
You know how stoked you were when I first started getting into Malifaux and I could talk about Malifaux competently and how excited you were?
Same idea?
Same feeling.
Well, good, right? Yeah, I'm fine with that. But yeah, so I mean, that's been high on my playlist. You know, what else? Historicals. Trying to get ready for some tank battles. That's kind of my upcoming hobby.
Hell yeah!
Painting a few more tanks, and so that's super exciting. I think we might be doing that on the 12th. Shit, yeah, I gotta get moving.
I was like, I think you guys are up on that soon because we were talking about it the other night.
Well, you can't say the 12th without saying that it is the second.
It is the second. Yes.
When people listen to this, they're gonna be like, the 12th is like the 20th. What the hell are they talking about?
Yes. So yes, it's coming out on the 12th is I think is the game day, and then so we're 10 days off of that. I've got a lot to do. So those are the two main things I'm playing. I mean that's really where the game is, and that's where I think most of my time is going to be spent till the end of the year.
And are you on the same historical? So we're still talking about Chain of Command.
Yeah, well, yes, and then with the tank game that we're doing, we're actually just modifying the rules and adapting them to playing with armor instead of foot soldiers.
So it's not what a tanker. You're still playing.
We're still using all the base rules from Chain of Command.
Just with a shit ton of tanks.
Yeah, just basically saying, all right, here's my tank platoon. It's 5 Panthers, and here's a Puma, and that's my leader.
Sweet.
We're going to see how it works because a little bit of chain of command is designed so this way, tanks can't dominate, right? So it's like, oh shit, tank came out, it destroyed a whole bunch of stuff, but now I'm going to, Panzerfaust it or whatever, hit it hard, and it's going to just get destroyed. So it might be, I don't know, it might be a quick game if we find out that everything's getting hit harder than it should be. So, we might have to adapt it for a second run, but I'm pretty stoked either way.
Cool.
All the command stuff will work the same. We just kind of made some adjustments, and so I mean, it's been kind of fun sitting there talking with Bob and figuring out how we're going to house rule everything, and so it'll be good to see how that goes, and I think we'll actually have 4 people playing.
All right, well that's super fun.
Nice.
Potter.
Games I would consider myself playing. I got dragged back into MCP with Paul's hype. I'd actually been off of it for a while. Just mostly because, I think COVID really fucked me up with my social anxiety a lot, and it took me a really long time to get back out there after things started opening up, like a really long time.
Yeah, dude.
And like our friend Kevin was pulling me out, and I came out to play one night, and I literally sat in my car and had a panic attack. I wasn't even around anybody. I wasn't even in the store. I was just in the car having a panic attack. So I was like, it took a while, but I'm back out. I'm playing again. So I consider myself playing that. Legion always will be on the top of my list to play, even though the community here is kind of shifted due to some, I guess, I don't know, internal blow up in the store community. I don't know what happened, but I'm always going to be playing that. It's Star Wars. And then War Machine right now, because with Mark IV coming up, I'm painting models for it. I've got the entire Storm Legion release pre-ordered through Noah, so I'm just waiting for him to get those and ship them out to me, so I can start slapping some paint on those.
Hell yeah, that's amazing.
Those are my games.
All right, I just checked my phone app. Because I keep, I track all my plays in this app. And so this year I have played, I'm not even going to say counts because it's it's fucking embarrassing. I told you I'd sneak one in, Paul. The only games I played this year are Marvel Crisis Protocol, Bushido. Oh my god, I have to go down my list so far. Kings of War, Relic Blade, and Infinity Code 1. Those are the only games I've played in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. So I don't think I can consider myself saying that I'm playing any games because it's November and I'm looking all the way back in the year, and those are the only games that I've played this year that are minis games. And to be clear, this app shows me how many times I've played each game and the number of times I've played them, and the total number of games I've played this year. So different unique games is 76. So I've played plenty of games this year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But the only minis games I've played are those ones. And by far the most is Crisis Protocol. And as a matter of fact, I think that's the only game I would say I'm actively playing. I definitely love Kings of War and A Song of Ice and Fire, and I would have sworn to you that I played A Song of Ice and Fire this year, but it doesn't look like I have. So
I was pretty sure you didn't. I feel like you would have shared that, and I don't remember you talking about it. I remember you talking about.
I played a lot last year. Yeah, I played a lot. I played a lot last year. Like at the end, like we had that like couple months of like that we were like, oh, COVID is gone, and I played 7 games in a 2-month period last year. So I had a 2-month streak where I was playing a ton of A Song of Ice and Fire, but I haven't played it at all this year. That's crazy. Anyway, so Marvel Crisis Protocol is probably the only game that I can really get away with saying I'm playing right now. So, whew, boy, bad news for me. So I'm gonna actually start the next one, and that's the next question I was gonna ask to all 3 of us. But is what are we considering not playing anymore? And I don't mean like. What aren't we playing that we want to be playing, but like what games are we considering just dropping entirely, and to the point where you might consider selling some miniatures?
I will. I can go first on that one because I've actually done a pretty big purge.
Oh, go for it then, Chris. Yeah, definitely.
I have gotten to the point where I'm kind of okay with like not playing games anymore, like where I used to hold on to them all the time because like I bought these, I have to play with them, and I'm at a point where I'm like, nah, I had my fun with them. I'm okay with letting them go.
Yeah, I'm there.
Infinity is one of those games. I will still play Code 1, but the main core Infinity game, I think I'm done with. It's a fantastic system. It's nothing wrong with the game. It's me. I literally, legitimately just cannot wrap my head around how to play the game outside of casual, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just going to roll dice kind of way.
Yeah, and I would love for each system to have a reason like this. I was going to break down why, because none of mine are because the games are bad. None of them.
None of them are because the games are bad. It's just like Infinity, as much as I love the game, I love the concept, I love the ARO system, it's just list building and actually coming up with more than basic knowing the basics of the game, it boggles my brain and I can't wrap my brain around it. Code 1 is great for me because it's very streamlined, it's cut down, there's not a lot of those advanced rules. So Code 1 I will continue playing. But I'll be letting the core game go. So I let that one go. And then I also let go of Toss. I just don't see the community coming in for it. And if it does, I'll be happy to pick it back up. But just with the lack of love that Weird has put into it, I do know that the new guild stuff and the other faction I can't remember is all starting to coming out now too. It's just I think it's died here. As much as I think the game is great and fantastic, I just felt like it was time for me to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So for me, boy, I have a real long list here. So the first part of it is everything War Cradle. I'm just done. For me. So that includes a fleet for Dystopian Wars that I bought. My Wild West Exodus.
And I didn't know you picked up a fleet for Dystopian Wars.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch. Of Union. Yeah. I got stuck though because I was like doing the assembly and I got to the point where I was like magnetizing all the weapons and my brain just went absolutely fucking not. And I couldn't get into it. And as much as it like pains me because we actually have a really great war host, 2 really great war hosts honestly in the area. And there is a vibrant community around the game. But it's just I think, and I just think that the hobby commitment is not, I'm just not there. And also like every time I've watched the game, it just feels like rolling a bucket of dice at your opponent's bucket of dice. And I know it's not that simple. I know it isn't. But it's just, the game, I guess it's just not sparking the joy for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, yes, this game looks incredible and I want to go out and play it for a couple hours. It's just, not doing that. So, and neither is Wild West Exodus. So I'm just going to get rid of all that stuff. I'm just going to sell it in a big lot and get rid of it.
Yeah, I got rid of my Wild West Exodus stuff too, so I feel you on that one.
Yeah. Similarly to Chris, I'm actually considering paring down to one Malifaux keyword and my TOS army, and then selling everything else.
Which one do you think you're going to pare down to?
Oh, that's easy. Take a wild guess.
10 Thunders.
No. Dang. And not one faction, one keyword specifically.
Oh, one keyword. Oh, yeah, I forgot everything changed up now.
Yeah. I'll say Sui. I'm going down to just
That's
Ulix.
right. I forgot you like pigs. I forgot the gremlins. Yeah, I forgot about those guys.
Yeah, just Ulix. I'm going to pare down to Ulix and then be done. And my King's Empire. I can't part with my King's Empire. I've just put like so much love into painting those models.
Yeah, those guys look good too.
I really like that army, but I don't really there. And there's some like just breaking today. It sounds like Kyle Rowan got let go of, the current lead game developer for Malifaux. So, yeah. So I've got like a couple, and that's a whole other episode, right? But I have some feelings about that and weird in general, and so I think that it's just time for me to let go of most of it. Similarly to Chris, probably Infinity. Infinity is always going to be an aspirational game for me, I've realized, and the main contender, so the thing about the war games that I'm going to keep online, and we're going to talk about this with the next thing, but the games that I'm going to keep online are games that do not have to be lifestyle games. Not that like the hobby isn't a lifestyle hobby, it really is, but like I can paint minis for 5 to 10 hours a month and be happy, and play games that don't take 3.5 to 4 hours to play and be happy. And I don't need a lot of those games anymore. And I don't necessarily want games that need me to be thinking about them away from the table for long periods of time, like outside of when I'm actually painting and playing, because of Flesh and Blood. So I'm not going to be able to keep Infinity up. It's just not going to work for me. I similarly will keep a O12. I'll keep all my models that are for O12 and legal in Code 1. Mm-hmm. Those are not going to leave my collection, but all my Hakislam and my Aleph, I'm going to sell it.
Yep.
And I think that I'm going to get rid of also all of my Games Workshop stuff that isn't specifically for Blood Bowl or Warcry. It's going. I'm going to get rid of it. Blood Bowl just because I love painting them, and Warcry because Warcry is a game that in my local area is becoming that game where I'm just going to be able to, I can just like message the group on Facebook and get a game 6 out of 7 nights a week. But those are the games I'm letting go of. How about you, Paul?
Jeez, I am.
If you even have any.
WWX is on its way out.
Yeah.
Toss, I have everything, but I don't think it's ever going to get played. So at some point, I just need to suck it up and get rid of it one way or the other. Not getting rid of my Infinity, there's too much I enjoy about it to get rid of it. I just location on that one. There's some bitterness I have towards the store that it's held in, and it's just not something I'm going to get over. So otherwise I'd probably be playing it a lot more hardcore than I do.
Sure.
So that's sticking around. But looking at it, like everything else that I have that is around is like so minimal at this point. I don't even know, because I have Song of Ice and Fire, Legion, MCP, and my World War II stuff, and that's all like on the table. So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm not giving up that much. I'm just not bringing stuff in. Really, is what it's coming down to.
Yeah, I mean, same, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so the next question then is anything on the horizon that you want to play. So like thinking out and towards the future, like we talked about the games we're playing this month and things we're looking forward to, but I wanted to talk about like if there's anything out on the like if there's anything like long term, like looking in the next like 6 to 8 months, are there things that you want to get games in? There's stuff you want to like try to pick back up and like kind of like reinvigorate yourself with these games or pick up new ones. I'm the only one who hasn't started, so I'll go here. I think I talked about Kings of War a little bit already. Kings of War is probably my biggest yes on this. My actual goal here is that what I'd like to do is pare down to one mass battle game and one skirmish game, and possibly one skirmish game per setting that I enjoy, right? So one sci-fi, one fantasy, and maybe one like superhero, we'll say, because I'm probably not going to get rid of MCP. And as much as I love A Song of Ice and Fire, and I don't think I'll ever sell my Song of Ice and Fire just because I love that game so much. But like when I think about prioritizing my time in games that I want to get out and play, Kings of War is just like, God fucking damn it. It's so good. And we'll talk about it. We're going to do an episode of Kings of War because I find myself thinking about the game a lot. And that's one that's on the horizon that I want to play a lot more of. Also, I would really, really, really like to get some games of War Machine Mark IV in the next half year, and Bushido. Those are the ones that I'm really, really looking at for me anyway, for a variety of reasons. One of them is because each one of those is a game we haven't recorded a full episode on, and I really want to get back to recording some like in-depth deep dives on games that we haven't played yet. And then another reason is that like those are games that all three of them I'm like jacked on the settings, and they make me want to paint minis.
Yeah, so that's important, right? Like that the game makes you want to do that.
Yeah,
be part of the hobby.
Yeah. Kings of War, big time. Like, oh man, I just want to like grind through stuff and play just like it's just there's so many things on so many levels that rule about that game. And the hobby aspect of it, like I don't think I've ever been as satisfied hobbying as I have been on my Kings of War models. So,
yeah, I mean your Kings of War like Fish Sharkman army is baller as hell. Like you did such a good job with that, with the basing, the paint jobs on the guys, the thematic, pulling it all together. It's fantastic. So I understand why you want to play that more.
Yeah, and that's the army I'm still working on. My goal is actually to have like 4,500 to 5,000 points painted, where 2,300 is a normal size game, like 2,000 to 2,300. Those are like the two. It's actually, I think it's a 1,999 and 2,299. Those are like the two main point levels. And those are like, I want to be able to have like 4,000 points so that I can have like lots of paintable options or lots of painted options. Plus, it just looks cool as hell.
Yeah, they do. I wish I liked mass battle games. Well, let me rephrase this. I wish I liked rank and flank games more, because I think Kings of War would be the game to like get me into it. But it's just I don't like them, and it's like I know I play Song of Ice and Fire, which technically is a rank and flank game, but I feel like it's so light and so small, it feels like a skirmish game to me.
Oh, we should dive into that, because I think when we do a Kings of War episode, Chris, we'll dive into that, because I think the things you like about A Song of Ice and Fire are in Kings of War. The things that you don't like about Kings of War or about rank and flank probably is like the accounting involved in large units and certain things about the down.
Some of it's the positioning, and with so many bases on the table, sometimes sucks. And that's one of the reasons why I like Infinity, since it's so small comparatively, like coming from like a Warhammer Fantasy, which is, I mean, old fantasy and Ice and Fire are really my only, exposures to rank and flank games. So, let's save that for that episode. I'll be interested in having that conversation.
Yeah, definitely. But Chris, how about
I'll tell you what, though,
go ahead, Paul. Yeah,
I was going to say, on the table, when there's a big old fantasy army out there, all rank and flanked with the flags,
it looks gorgeous,
stuff, unbelievable. Like that's half of it, right? Is like
there's nothing.
There's just something about it.
There's nothing.
Yeah, no, they're gorgeous. Like I remember, I mean, that was part of the reason why I picked fantasy over 40K when I got into gaming, like when I was 12. And picked out my first army, like it was the same thing. It was like the banners, the way that the armies looked together, and it was just cool, compared to just the Marines and the Orcs and the Tyranids or whatever else was out at the time.
Right.
Yeah, they look gorgeous with a full army, fully painted. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, that was always the nice thing about fantasy is that, I don't know, just playing it was thematic right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one of you two, games on the horizon you're wanting to play?
I'll go. A game that I've constantly wanted to play that has been talked a lot about on this show that is always on my horizon is Bushido. I would love to try and get a what is it? What's the guy, the mountain guys? Is it the wolves, the bears, or something? Bear Clan or something like that.
Yeah, I feel really Minimoto.
Minimoto, there you go. Those guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I really love those models. Every time I look at Bushido, I'm constantly drawn to them. So I think I'm going to try and pull the trigger and order some, because our local store carries a small amount, maybe 3 or 4 blisters of Bushido, and of course none of them are factions I want.
Yeah.
So that one's for me. Obviously, War Machine Mark IV on the horizon. I am going to be probably playing the hell out of that when it comes out. Everything I'm seeing so far I like. We just got the looks at the new Elf faction today, and good lord, they're pretty. And I mean, I've gotten my Signar here that I've got from the what was it, Gen Con release that they did.
The pre-sale, yeah.
Yeah, and the model kits are fantastic. They take paint very well. I've gotten 2 of the Warjacks pretty much almost fully painted now. So yeah, they're just great models. And I want to play more Ice and Fire next year. I didn't play much this year. I think I felt like I played MCP and Legion the most this year. So I would like to try and get more Ice and Fire in. Even though there was a short burst where we were playing a lot of Ice and Fire, I still felt like I played the other games more.
Fair.
That's my horizon.
I really think I do wish I played that game a lot more. Man. But it's tough, right? Because we only have so much time. Paul, how about you?
I'm sitting here thinking about it, and actually even thought about it a good bit earlier today. And I realized that with the games that I have and the games that I can play, I'm not looking to add anything new.
Sure.
I'm in a good spot.
That being said, though, what is the stable? What does the stable look like for you outside of the 2 games we talked about already, which are Chain of Command and Marvel Crisis Protocol?
Yeah, it's going to be, Song of Ice and Fire and Legion, the standards, I guess. I do want to try and go out and get a couple games of Infinity in.
I'm going to try to get you guys to use your Song of Ice and Fire minis to try Frostgrave too. I think you'd really enjoy it. Like at one of your barn days or whatever, playing like 3 or 4 player Frostgrave. I think you guys would just love it.
You know what I do think I want to find? I want to find good single player games.
I think that's games
what I would
or just add. In general.
Yeah, single player mini game.
Cool. There's a couple of those. We'll talk offline, and maybe it's funny we're talking about this on the podcast, but dear listeners, maybe we'll actually have a solo minis game episode, and I'll make sure to follow up with Paul about this after, because there are quite a few of them now, and a couple of them are mad interesting, especially the Elder Scrolls one, the Call to Arms.
Yeah, I will tell you right now. I'm glad you brought that up because both Modiphius games, both Fallout and Elder Scrolls, really intrigue me because they're both 2 IPs that I really love, from the video games. And when those minis came out, because I think Elder Scrolls Modiphius just announced, I think yesterday, a whole new gang or crew or whatever you want to call it, what they're being called in that game. There's a whole brand new set coming out. Of dudes for that game.
For Call to Arms? Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw. Oh God, why can't I remember? Duncan Rhodes. He did a few painting things on that. I think he did a whole like, this is how you play it solo or something like that. I think it was him. It was a British guy. I thought it was Duncan, but maybe it's not. But that really intrigued me. I had no idea that you could play that game solo and individually. So that is definitely something I would like to talk about as well.
Yeah, the main mode of Call to Arms actually is the solo mode. It has multiplayer, but I think the most intended way for you to play that game is solo. So pretty cool. And yeah, there are some other games too, like Frostgrave has a mod, and then there's also the Rangers of Shadowdeep, which is also Joseph McCullough of Frostgrave fame as a single player specific game. And there's others too, right? There's at least a couple, and one that's actually on our call sheet right now, Mutant Wars Year Zero. So there are things to talk about with that. So yeah, that's very cool. And I love also Relic Blade. Relic Blade has solo modes now.
Ooh, those are models I own.
Yeah, and it's a cool game. Like Relic Blade's a really good system. I'm actually surprised at myself for not saying that's a game that I want to keep playing. But yeah. Okay, so we still have a little bit of time. So let's talk about a couple upcoming games. Just because I'm curious to know if you guys know anything about them, and if so, if you're excited at all about them. And the first one is Rivenstone, which is from Broken Anvil Games, at least partially developed by Will Hungerford.
Yeah, the models really intrigue me.
I mean, it's World of Warcraft, of course they do.
Yeah, like they're, pretty much. They basically are very kind of big, bulky.
Oh yeah, they just like took the Blizzard aesthetic and like changed it just enough to not get sued.
Pretty much. I mean, the dwarves are fantastic. I'm always gravitate towards dwarves. I love playing.
They're
dwarves.
great. I love their undead. Their take on the undead is just so good. I love it.
Yeah, Rivenstone is definitely something. When I saw Will go over there, and at the time, the company was really only doing, they were just doing, STL file and 3D printed models. There wasn't any games kind of attached to it at Broken Anvil. And then when Will goes over, they're like, well, what is Will going to do if this is what they do? And like, I've been super impressed with what I've seen of it so far. The models are fantastic. It looks fun from what they've got on their Kickstarter videos. So yeah, no, I'm super interested in this as well too. I would love to get a game of this and try it.
Yeah, same. It's the thing I'm looking forward to most next year. Like if there was any new war game I was going to try, it would be Rivenstone.
And these dwarves look right up Potter's alley.
I know they are. Like it is so hard to find good dwarf models. Like I hate that GW like pretty much killed the old dwarf line except for a few kits because they were just so good. Like as much as I don't want to buy GW products, their dwarves are just the best aesthetic to me. I've looked at Oathmark dwarves, I looked at Kings of War dwarves, and I've looked at other systems dwarves, but these dwarves, yeah, they're speaking to me. The Iron Guard is what they're called, I think.
Yeah, the Iron Guard. Yep.
Yeah, and again, probably because they're very
real nice too.
Yeah, probably because they're very World of Warcrafty, and I played a lot of dwarves in World of Warcraft, so
yeah,
I think most of my characters are dwarves.
I was not joking when I said the aesthetic was like very World of Warcraft inspired, like the portals, like all of the stuff in the game. So maybe this is one where we do, because there have been episodes where we've done an episode where we look at a rule book and we break down the rules without having actually played the game. So I would say, listeners,
rulebook is available. So
if you're on the Discord and you want to hear us do a breakdown of Rivenstone, please sound off in the general chat, and we will 100% do a deep dive rulebook breakdown for Rivenstone. Because I think, like I said, if there was a game like that really excites me to wanting to play it, both like in terms of what I've seen so far, like the sort of like the way that it uses dice, the way that they have big character cards like Marvel Crisis Protocol, and it's like a smaller, it's that like sort of like Goldilocks Zone skirmish game we've all wanted, where it's like 15 to 25 models. Like that's the range that the game is in. So there's just like a lot of cool stuff to like, and they have a really cool retail release model. So definitely mention if you want us to do an episode, because that's one that I could definitely see myself getting into and doing an episode for.
Yeah, I really wish I hadn't missed out on this Kickstarter now.
Well, pre-order from Noah. Noah's got it for pre-order. He has things coming in, so it's on the Comics, Games, and Things website. So
I know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. And we're not sponsored or anything, but man, comicsgamesandthings.com, that's like one of the best web stores on the internet, even if it's a little bit, sorry, no, it's a little bit rough to look at. It's not the prettiest website, but man, good store, great ownership, solid customer service, and almost unbeatable prices.
Yeah, so. Noah's fantastic. I mean, Paul, I know you've got a good story of him helping you out from a customer service standpoint.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got my fixed Doctor Strange in no time.
Dude, we all do.
Absolutely
all of us
no time.
do.
And
all of us have good Noah stories. So
yeah, I mean, he hits me up when there's stuff coming out that he thinks that I might want. He reaches out to me like, hey, shoot, I don't even live in the guy's state.
So once again, this is not sponsored content, but we're going to give you now you're going to get a breakdown. This is a weird episode. We're off the rails. But Comics, Games, and Things, there's a lot that Noah will do, including shipping you whatever that you want to order. He carries a lot of products, from Gundam models to paints to hobby supplies to a lot of products from all the biggest war games, but also 3D prints and sends out 3D printed models. And you can also download STLs from the website. So if you're into 3D printing, it's also a really cool one-stop shop for downloading STLs or getting models printed and shipped. So that's the non-sponsored advertisement for Comics, Games, and Things for this episode. It's just like, it's probably like I have two favorite FLGSs. Fuck you if you don't think you can have two favorites. You can definitely have two favorites. And Comics, Games, and Things, aka Valhalla Hobby, is definitely one of my favorite game stores. So they just happen to be local to me, even though they do good, solid internet business.
I wish they were here. No, open a store in North Carolina.
Yeah, so the other
I don't
thing,
think you went all the way up to Wisconsin to open up a store.
Come back to North Carolina.
All right, so guys, the only other game that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to have you click on the Kickstarter here.
I already watched it this afternoon when you posted it.
Okay, so what did you think? So the game we're going to talk about right now is Mutant Year Zero Zone Wars.
So I love the models.
Dude, they're so good. They're so good.
It makes me think there was a video game that came out that had a very similar...
Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden video game.
Yeah, it's Mutant Year Zero. It's literally the same property.
Oh, is it the same one? Okay, that's why.
100%. Yeah.
That's why. Okay, I was like, this looks so familiar to some like video game I saw a while back. Yeah. The freaking killer boars. The guy with the chainsaw coming around. I love it. It's being done. By some big names. Most importantly,
Free League. So published by Free League, and that is so. If you only are listening to this show as a wargamer, and wargaming is your primary interest, the name Free League is probably nothing to you. But if you're listening and you play RPGs, you might be nodding your head when I say this is the most exciting company in the tabletop role-playing space, and it's not even close. Not even close. Like, if I had to compare, like if we take Flesh and Blood as an example, and compare Legend Story Studios, the company that makes Flesh and Blood, with Wizards of the Coast, the publisher of Magic the Gathering, right? That's a relationship where you have the biggest, baddest name with the the largest amount of players and the amount of clout and people knowing and knowledge and player base and all that stuff. It's the same kind of comparison as Wizards of the Coast to Free League, but where Legend Story makes a trading card game, Free League makes role-playing games. And Free League's role-playing games, which include Vaesen, I don't know how to pronounce, I think it's Vaesen, Mutant Year Zero, the Alien role-playing game, Forbidden Lands. It just goes on and on and on. The Loop, or Tales from the Loop. And all of these role-playing games are incredible. Like, super good systems. Very, very... Oh, and Morkborg. How did I not mention Morkborg, the most fucking black metal role-playing game of all time? And maybe the best role-playing book you can possibly buy. It's so great. Highly, highly recommended. And this is the company that's producing Mutant Year Zero, is Free League. And back to, and sorry, I just stole all your Potter, or your thunder here, Potter.
Well, so I didn't know that much about Free League. I just knew that the game is designed by Andy Chambers, who is a big name in the tabletop minis war. Like, so he's done Warhammer Fantasy, Battlefield Gothic, Necromunda, Drop Zone Commander, and,
just small things.
Yeah, not small games. So, it's got some clout behind it, with a name like that. Plus again, like, I was so intrigued by this when I saw the trailers for it, for the video game. Just like the badger running around killing people, like, it just intrigued me. So I'm glad to know that I wasn't crazy and that this was the same thing. Cause it's just, you got a murder duck going around, and like, I want to role play that as Howard the Duck, cause I love Howard the Duck, because the George Lucas movie is a guilty pleasure of mine. Even as bad as it is, it's still a guilty pleasure. So that just, I saw this, was like, ooh, this looks fun.
Oh, the minis are great too, right? Like, they're so characterful, and Mutant Year Zero is a really cool setting. And I think the coolest thing about this game, and like, without getting into the mechanics at all, the thing that I really love is that so it's affordable. That's a side note. Like the two pledges for this game, I think, are like $90 and $50. It's just like so great. But the cool thing about this game is that it's designed with multiplayer in mind. And the game has been designed where you play 2 players on a 2x2 or 4 players on a 3x3. And it's like, everything about the game is set to be multiplayer. And as a person who's come to love the multiplayer aspect of Marvel Crisis Protocol, having a game that was built from the ground up to support 3 and 4 player games is very exciting to me, especially if my buy-in for 4 people to play it is $91.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not a bad price point. Yeah.
So pretty cool. Paul, are you looking at it?
Yeah, I am.
What do you think?
I think it looks great. I think it looks fun.
Yeah, and so I would encourage anybody to go, even if this doesn't come out till the project is officially kickstarted, because right as we talk now, it's been on Kickstarter for about a day and a half, and it's up to $75,000 ish out of a $22,000 ish stretch goal. And that's actually pretty big for a Free League. Free League does a lot of Kickstarters, and they're already well on their way to a great successful campaign for them. So I have no doubt that they will produce this to the degree that they are saying they will. But they are well on their way to some very exciting stretch goals that include specifically made cutout terrain that's like post-apocalyptic terrain, and like monster cards called the Land Shark, and additional minis that will come in the boxes that you buy, not additional add-ons, just extra minis that will get packed into your stuff. So pretty cool. So definitely check out, again, Mutant Year Zero Zone Wars. Looks pretty awesome.
Cool. I was trying to figure out where where they were based on their currency.
Sweden.
So they're in Sweden.
Yeah, that is Swedish kroner. Is SEK. Yep. So yeah, that's a thing to definitely look at. Very, very, very cool stuff. And that is all I had. So in terms of this episode, I don't know if you gents wanted to toss anything in that had any other ideas in terms of where you wanted to check in or what you wanted to talk about. Like maybe if there were any hobby products that you want to talk about that you were doing or anything specifically. But
hobby products is interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to start branching out more since I've kind of gone on this whole like I will not buy GW products, so I dumped all my paint from them. So I'm in the process of redoing a lot of my paint series here. So like I'm looking at things like AK interactive paints, and I'm looking at things like Tamiya paints that I might be able to get a hold of. But we actually have, I think it's the stuff you have, Chops, the very matte paint that you use for yours. I think it starts with an M.
Proacryl. Monument Proacryl.
Monument, that's what it was, Monument, yeah. So I think one of our local stores actually carries those here, so I'm going to try and do that. So I'm excited to start experimenting with a lot of like non-GW brands and trying to figure out how to do new paint schemes based off of that. I've even started breaking out a lot more of my P3 paints and getting back to using those, which kudos to P3. Or to Privateer on these paints, man. I've owned this when P3 first launched Privateer Press launched their P3 paint line. I bought the all-in-one Army box set of just the whole paint range. There are still paints in there that I haven't touched in years that are open, and the paint is still as if I opened it at day one. So kudos to you guys. Like you did a great job with your bottles.
All right, there it is. You heard it here. Privateer Press pots. They are good.
Best paint pots ever.
And so what I'll say is that if I was going to be buying a brand new paint range and I was going to be investing seriously in a company, just in terms of like a company that I feel good morally about supporting, and also the quality of their paint lines, I would be probably looking at just buying Vallejo. Game Color, Model Color, and the new Express Color line, which is their contrast. Like that's if you wanted some unsolicited advice, spotter, that's definitely like Monument makes great paints. But man, the Vallejo paints are just next level and always have been.
I've got a ton of Vallejo paints, and I really do want to try. I've seen Angel. I've seen him doing a lot of the new speed paints, whatever Vallejo's calling
the Express Color.
Yeah, the Express Colors. So they're new contrast paints. So I'm really excited to look at those. I've actually been branching a lot into Army Painter as well too. Those are both great brands. Yeah, I have a lot of their new speed paints. Their contrast paints, whatever we're wanting to call that entire genre of paint now.
Speed paint.
I don't know. Whatever. The ink paints.
Glaze paints.
Yeah, ink paints. We'll go with that. Like so, because I'm going to slap chops. I'm going to call it slap chops since you named it 2 years ago, man. I'm going to do that to my Sentinels. So I've already got like purple, magenta, some blues to throw on those guys. So I'm just going to prime those guys silver and try those out. So I'm looking at trying Army Painter out. Hear
me out. And I'm going to do this first if you want to see how I'm going to do it. And I'll even tell you the paints I'm going to use because that's actually what's next on my desk is the Sentinels. So undercoat them black, spray them black, and then heavy dry brush silver.
The silver on it? Okay.
Onto the black going down. And don't worry about getting silver everywhere so if you've seen my Big Mac for the King's Empire, the King's Hand, that guy, this is what I did. Painted him all the way black and then heavy dry brush on the silver, just heavy-handed dry brush. And I think the cool thing that it will do, and the reason that I think this is so cool is because the Sentinels, right, they're like sent from the future, right, and they're like raggedy and fucked up. And it like I don't want my Sentinels to look like fresh off the assembly line. I want them to look like they've been through some shit.
Yeah, because that's how I want mine too. I want mine like they've been in battle. I want their paint chipped and everything else like that.
I think that's what you should do. I think you spray them black and you do a heavy ass dry brush. And I would even go as far as doing a really super heavy lead Belcher dry brush and then getting a brighter silver and doing a more edge dry brush with that brighter silver and then hitting it with the contrast paints.
Yeah, so that was my plan. I was going to do Scale Colors black metal. And then I was going to do speed metal as a dry brush because it's like they're super bright, like their mithril silver, I think would be the equal paint. So yeah, I was going to do black metal to speed metal. And then just do my inking over top of it or contrasting over top of it. Whatever.
So worst case, you spray it black and you dry brush the silver, and then you just decide you want to do it and then spray the silver on anyway, right? Like, but I think you should definitely give it a shot with just the black to start because I think you'll get some way more dramatic shadows that way, and it'll look dope.
Yeah, because my whole process with that was to do that. Get the contrast on it. Once that dried, I got it to where I wanted it. Then I was coming back in with some black and some speed metal to start doing my chipping.
Yeah, chipping with a sponge. You got it. That's 100. That's 100% how I'm going to paint mine. So
yeah, I was going to hit it up with the black just to get the splotchings, and then go in just with the fine brush and just hit in with the silver and those splotchings from the sponge.
There you go.
Yep.
At this point, I'm just really enjoying the fact that you said I want to try black and speed metal.
Black and speed metal. It's the new genre of painting.
That's right.
Look,
these models are going to be the blackest of black.
Dude, seriously, their metal paints are called black metal, heavy metal, and speed metal.
They are. Yeah, can confirm.
So, cool. Well, that's me. Paul, anything you're looking for?
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts?
Man, I feel like I'm like curmudgeon-y because I'm like, no, I'm content.
That's fine. Yeah, that's.
I think
that's
it's
weird
though. It's weird. Like I'm like, yeah, I just there's nothing for like. I feel like all of my genres are covered. You know what I mean? Like the game spaces are covered. I got a rank and flank. I have.
When we started this journey, we really catapulted ourselves into every board game we could possibly push ourselves into. And the only natural result of that, the only two natural results are bankruptcy or settling into games that we really like. And between the three of us, I'm really happy that we're settling.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is like, so I'm settling on minis games, but then I'm going bankrupt on Gundams.
Yeah, this happens.
How's that backlog, Potter?
Shut up. I think I told Paul I should not be responsible for the amount of money I make in my job. Because it just goes to Gundams. It really does. I can afford my kids, I pay my rent, and I buy Gundams.
Seems fine.
Just start mailing Bandai a big check every month.
Yeah.
There you go. There's an idea. A blind box Gundam program. You just pay in and we'll send you Gundams.
Shut up. Oh my God. I need it.
Or we'll send you compatible runners. Like choose your own Gundam adventure.
Oh my gosh.
Like Bandai should just set up a credit card like in the top of my head, like a machine, and I just swipe every month.
All right though, guys.
Directly goes to Japan.
Paul, you want to read us out?
Yeah. Thanks to Static is the City for the music. Thanks to our patrons for all the support.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks to everybody on the Discord. Fucking amazing, every single one of you. And yeah, I think that covers it. Bye from Noah.
Bye from Noah, and also bye.